At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The following audio contains personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope these stories inspire you to continue your journey with or join OPTAVIA, but please note that they have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider or doctor prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may contain income or earnings representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. The stories shared reflect the unique experience of a very small percentage of OPTAVIA coaches and should not be relied upon by prospective or current OPTAVIA coaches as an indication of what they should expect to earn. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA results from successful sales efforts which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan.
Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to get to spend some time with you tonight.
Welcome to our Health and Hope Night tonight. We're super glad you're here.
Yep. My name is Joanna Mitchell.
My name is Jay Mitchell, and we happen to tonight we're going to be talking about lots of different stories of success, but we want to talk just in broad strokes about a lot of things. So we're going to go focus on, here's the agenda tonight of what we'd like to do. First things first, we really want to dig into the mindset. We want to help you be awakened to the secrets of lifelong transformation. We don't want it to be a secret anymore. We want you to know. And then we want to talk about the skill set, learning how you can decide. Think about that word decision. We would like tonight actually for you to be able to make a decision, an informed decision on how you're going to be able to move forward in your health. We want to give you a chance to actually hear from some people who've done this and who've been incredibly successful at this. So you're going to get to hear from them later. So you're going to get that mindset piece, the skill set piece, and then the action piece. We want to give you some simple steps on how you can move forward in your journey with optimal health.
And what we love about the word decide is the word decide means you've eliminated all other possibilities. And so
good.
And so we're really excited. We're really, really excited to give you the tools, to give you the stories, to connect you with what's possible so you're ready to make your decision. So we're going to start with sharing a little bit about us. I said, my name is Joanna and this is Jay. And on the other picture, you're seeing our 6 crazy kids and a daughter-in-law. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. I started this health journey 7 years ago. 7 years ago, that woman you're seeing in the picture was not the same person that was 7 years ago. I was deeply, deeply depressed. I was struggling with caring for these kids and homeschooling, caring for a sick husband. He was on disability and bedridden. I had turned to food as my drug of choice and really kind of just became disconnected with the possibility that there was anything more available for me in life. I really started believing that this is as good as it's going to get. I believed the lie that I was doomed to stay in a cycle of defeat for forever. I was ashamed with the fact that I was dissatisfied with being a mom, dissatisfied with being a wife, even those were the dreams that I had since childhood. I was ashamed of the fact that no matter what I tried, I could not get that weight off. It became this source of shame that kind of bled into every other area of my life. If I can't do this, why do I think I could do anything else? Meanwhile, I was watching my best friend melt before my eyes. I saw her change her pant size like a boss. And as that pant size changed, I saw her get her sexy back. I saw her get her mojo back. I saw her get this confidence back that doggone it, I did this. I could do anything. And man, that's what I wanted. I wanted me again. And so I reached out to her. I told her, listen, I'm going to be your first failure, because I was a bit of a negative Nancy at that point. And she said, trust me. I'm so thankful I did, because I lost every bit of weight that I had gained and then some, 35 pounds to be exact. But what I'm most proud of is the tools that I've developed, the mindsets that I've developed, that I am now 7 years into this journey, and I am contending for ultra health, for optimal health, for a healthy mind, for healthy finances, for healthy marriage, for healthy parenting. I'm proud of the fact that because potential was awoken in me, because I conquered and broke that cycle of defeat, potential was awoken in me. The potential of there is more. I am made for victory. I am made to break these cycles of defeat. I'm made to win. There are more friends to be made, more lives to be impacted, more dreams to create. Man, who knew that when you break a cycle of defeat, all of a sudden that opens your mind up to that there's so much more. And I would love for you to share how you were experiencing this as we went down this journey together.
Yeah. And what I saw, what was so cool about my experiences is she started first, and I got to kind of witness the program on the outside and see what happened on the results that she had. And I just remember watching as she was going through program. I watched the wife that I had married 20 years ago reemerge. I had watched this woman gain her confidence back, gain her energy back, gain her love for life and for serving others back. For so many years, even me, I had lived, and I was, for me, it was never a weight issue. On the scale was okay. But you know what? I had a lot of other systems in my life that were out of whack. And that's what I love about OPTAVIA is it's not just a weight thing. We talk about healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. And for me, there were some habits that I had created in my life that just were not serving me. I'd created some mindsets in my life that were not serving me, and not really honestly serving my family either. Actually, when my wife started program, I had actually gone away to PA school. I'm an emergency medicine PA. And I was in the place where as a person watching her story, I was like, man, I want a little bit of what she's got. I want to see some of the changes in me. Because really I was living off coffee and ice cream in the evenings. And although the scale was okay, my body was unhealthy. I was sluggish. I didn't have energy, and I had this brain fog. I was tired a lot of the time. And honestly, I just lived in some really downstairs thinking. I lived in a scarcity place, a place of just always concerned about preserving me and not really in the habit of serving others, and in the habit of taking care of my personal self. Yeah. And so when I saw her change, I knew that it was time for me to make a change too. And so since I've been on this journey with OPTAVIA, the greatest gift has been to me is not just what it's done with my body, but it's just been in the personal growth and really transforming for me a new sense of abundance, a new sense of desire to serve my friends, my family, and to be at a place where I'm not just healthy in thinking, but healthy in my mind and healthy in my relationships. So I'm so thankful for the gift of OPTAVIA, and I can't wait to share more with you guys tonight. So that's us.
That's us.
She was a client first. I was a client, and then we started coaching, and coaching has been incredible for us. But we want to know about you. We want to know kind of a little bit about who you are tonight. So we want to know if you're an independent OPTAVIA coach. We want to know if you are a client, or we want to know if you're an actual guest tonight. If somebody just brought you on and decided to invite you, and you said, hey, I'll be brave enough and bold enough to try this out tonight.
Yep.
And so if you're here and you're a guest, we just want to welcome you and just say thank you for trusting your friend who invited you to be here. So go ahead and drop those answers in that poll, and we'll come back and see who's here. Next, I want to go back to the beginning. It wasn't actually too many years ago that this guy, the founder of our company, Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, who started OPTAVIA, he left an amazing career in medicine. As I'm in emergency medicine, he was actually in critical care. He was the valedictorian of his medical class. He trained in open heart surgery at Cleveland Clinic. He was a 10th board certified critical care physician, surgical critical care director at Grandview Hospital, and department chair of anesthesiology for 18 years. I mean, dang, the guy had quite a resume in the medical world. Super, super brilliant. But what he did is he decided, you know what? He had such a heart and passion for people to see health move beyond just what he saw in the hospital. So he left what he called the sick care system to really help people find optimal health and well-being well before they ever had to show up to the hospital. I mean, he looked at the world that we live in, and you probably do too. You probably look out, you don't have to go far, right? You can probably look even within your own home, family members or neighbors, or just down the street, or churches, or wherever you attend, in schools, and just go to the grocery store or a department store, and you'll see how incredibly unhealthy our world is. Worldwide obesity, it says, has tripled since 1975. And that most people in the world are actually, the rate of death is much higher for those who are overweight than those who are underweight. And even here in America, Dr. A talks a lot about this. You can read some of these statistics, but that relational stress is a conflict, that finances are a conflict, that mental health is a conflict. And Dr. A says something that he says he wants to actually kind of change and shift. He used to say when we first started that it was obesity and it was being overweight that was the number one problem. And actually he says this now, he's changed that it's actually emotional mismanagement. Because you know what happens when you mismanage emotions?
You buffer.
You buffer.
You use food, you use alcohol, you use things in a way that was never meant to be used. And that leads to unhealth, obesity. And what we love about our program is that our program is all encompassing. We're going to talk about this more later on tonight, but man, we offer a system that provides tools to change the way you think, that provides tools to help you rewrite your story, that provides tools to help you develop new habits, because transformation isn't a number on a scale. Transformation happens when you change the way you think. Number on the scale is a byproduct. And this system that Dr. A developed, this life book, these are tools that are going to equip and empower you to do just that, to change the way you think, develop new habits, rewire stinking thinking, and create results that are lifelong by developing that one habit at a time. And we are going to give you just a small taste.
Element number one.
A small taste of this Habits of Health system from the life book. It's called Element 1. I think Element 1 might be one of my favorite elements because I believe, OPTAVIA believes, that clarity is the foundation for freedom. You've got to have a strong picture of where you're going, so you are willing to leave behind what no longer serves you. I've heard it said often that old behaviors and old ways of being and old ways of thinking will not create new results. So we need to have a picture of who we want to become and why is it important? Why is it important that you lose 30 pounds? How does that affect how you show up as a mom or a dad or a wife? How does it affect how you show up at work? Why is it important for you to feel confident in your clothes? These things are so important because we want you to partner with that future self. We want that future version of you to coach you. So this Element 1, this is getting clear on the why. Not just what, not just I want to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, but why? Why? How will this impact your emotional health? What things will you start doing that you might not be doing now? What things will you enjoy more? Have you thought about that? Have you really leaned into that? Your intrinsic motivation is going to be the most powerful tool to get you to partner with that future self to continue to contend for what you want most. And these are someone, this is actually in the book. This is a beautiful example of someone writing out their why, but don't worry, you'll get to do your own very soon. And then right here, this trilogy reel. Oh my gosh, I love the trilogy reel because we are all about all-encompassing health, healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances. And I want you to look at this real quick. We're going to be doing a poll on this in a minute. But as you just kind of glance over that, I want you to ask yourself, why aren't you at a 10? I'm going to ask you later what number you're at. Why have you settled for anything less than a 10? Why have you become so used to being at a 4 or a 2? Why has that normal become okay? Because I don't believe it is. I have learned that you are wired to win and you are made to contend for those 10s and then create new 10s every season of your life.
All right, you ready for the secrets of the program?
Lean in, they're good.
Lean in, they're really good. So I don't know how many of you have ever just tried a diet before. How many of you have out there just done a diet? And what typically happens? It's a 4-letter word. It is a 4-letter word. What happens a few months later or 6 months later, or maybe even a year later?
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Most people, you know the story because maybe it's been your story. And it's been really challenging because you've done diet after diet after diet. And you end up gaining the weight right back. But what's so uniquely different about what OPTAVIA has to offer is this passionate pursuit for lifelong transformation through this system. See, there's 4 main components of the OPTAVIA program, and I want to talk to you briefly about them now. Number 1 is an independent OPTAVIA coach. That's what Joanna and I are. And I tell you what, having a coach is an absolute game changer. So the thing that a coach does is it really just kind of points you and guides you towards the system into the right resources to help you. What coaches don't do is set up alarms in your house or set off alarms or call the police when you eat a pizza. That's not what a coach does. But a coach is there to challenge you and equip you.
Remind you of your why.
And remind you of your why, of that element number 1. The next part of the component the next part is the habits of health transformational system,
which we talked about.
Which we talked about, the habits of health book and the life book, because Joanna already said, change doesn't really happen with just a number on the scale. It's when we change the way that we think.
Yep.
The third part, which is probably my most favorite part, is the community piece. You're actually going to get tonight to get to meet some of our amazing community. And I will tell you, for me, I know it's probably my favorite component, is because you start to look a lot like the people you hang around the most. The people you spend time with, you begin to act like them and be like them. And so you know what? If you think in the future that your life is going to look different right now than the people you're hanging out with, you're kind of wrong. And you really need to relook at, hey, I probably should reevaluate the people I'm spending the most time with. So why not build a community? Why not be around some people who are pursuing lifelong transformational health together so that you can be encouraged and empowered to do that as well? Mm-hmm. So that's one of the amazing things about being part of our system. And I will kind of stop for a second and say, we just got to spend some time on a retreat with some amazing OPTAVIA leaders. And I'm telling you, it was the best time of my life. And so OPTAVIA, as clients, you get the opportunity as coaches to hang out and to be on Zooms and be a part of social media together and be in a place where we actually have podcasts. We even have events. And so that leads me to our 4th component, which is our amazing OPTAVIA fuelings. Thing I love about OPTAVIA fuelings is, do you see that special word? It was not called the OPTAVIA food. It's called OPTAVIA fuelings. Food is not your friend, okay? Fuelings, food is your fuel. And we really teach you how to have a structured, really simple nutritional program. And here's what's so great about the OPTAVIA fuelings. We take out all the hard work so that you can focus on what we call the heart work.
Yep.
Because this program really is about changing what's in here. It's about doing that heart work. So we move you through that incredible system so that you can have lifelong transformation. All right. Now, for those, we're going to do a quick poll. And I want you to think about, for those of you who are clients or coaches, think about which of the 4 components are most valuable to you. You can select all that really apply. Maybe it's having a coach, or maybe it's the community, or maybe it's the fuelings, or maybe it's the habits of health system, whatever it is. Plug it in the poll, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. As we're moving forward, I want to introduce to you some absolutely amazing people.
They're so cute.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you to hear from them.
We're so excited for you to hear from our friends, Amy and Robert Ortiz. Would you guys come off mute? And we just want you to share your story of health.
And it's a powerful story.
Very
so
powerful.
buckle up. Here we go.
Hi, guys. Thank you, Jay and Joanna, for the introduction. We are so grateful and so happy to be here tonight to share with you our story, our testimony. Our prayer is that it would be an encouragement to you and a blessing and a source of inspiration as well. I will briefly give you my story first. I started a program August 8th of 2020. I'll give you the backstory a little bit of what led me to saying yes to myself. We moved in 2019 from our hometown, home state, Illinois, moved on over to Indiana. My husband got a job opportunity here in the state of Indiana, and we took on the opportunity, super excited about just the new adventures that we're gonna take on when we said yes to that. And I can tell you that as we moved here and everything was said and done, it started to hit me really heavy. I had no clue that it was grieving. I was grieving. I was grieving the loss of all I've ever known, family. All of our family is back in Illinois, work, right? Church family, everything that we've ever known was left behind. So as things got settled, it started to hit really heavy. Trying to find a job here was also becoming a very, very hard challenge. And finally, when I found a job, it was a very toxic environment. And that's where things started to get a little darker for myself. It was a season of life that I can tell you with all honesty, I never saw it coming, never expected it. I'm very much a very optimistic, cup is always half full person. And all of a sudden, life was changing before my very own eyes, and I was starting to feel the effects of it. Anxiety was at an all-time high, a lot of sadness, overwhelming sadness that even my husband was not able to recognize the woman that I was becoming. Through that season, food became my source of finding comfort in, coping. I was coping through food. And fast forward, the pandemic hit. And again, there I was in another vicious cycle. I felt defeated. I felt like I was drowning. I felt like there was just no way out of this really dark and heavy season of my life. I remember going in June of 2020 to my doctor for a physical, an overdue physical. I can tell you that before I went to that exam, I already knew something was wrong. To give you a little prehistory of how I was feeling, I was suffering from insomnia. My energy was at a really, really low. I had that brain fog that we talk about. And also sleeping at night was really heavy. It was really hard for me because I was so overweight. I am only 5 feet tall, very short, very petite. So all to say is when I went to the doctor in June, I knew that there was going to be some things we were going to address that day. And sure enough, come to find out, I was 50 pounds overweight. Turned out I had high cholesterol and borderline diabetic. My blood sugar was a mess. I remember speaking with my doctor, having a heart-to-heart, and just obviously sharing the struggle. The struggle was real. The struggle was heavy. And she basically gave me 3 months. She said, Amy, I'm going to give you 3 months to work on your diet and nutrition, knowing that the majority of the issues that was going on in my health being compromised, it was a choice, right? I was making that choice. And so knowing that I could make the shift and change the trajectory my life was heading was what really, it was my breaking point, but also brought me to reality that it was time to do the head and the heart work. So I remember leaving that office, hearing from the doctor, I want to see you back in 3 months. And if things are not better in 3 months, we will have to put you on medicine for the rest of your life. And I think those words I remember hearing them over and over. And I remember as I left the doctor's office that day, it was a cry from the depth of my heart, that it was a one-on-one, me and God, right? I was driving on my way home. I can tell you again, I felt hopeless, felt defeated, so discouraged, disappointed, kind of asking the question, how did I get here? How did this happen? It just happened so fast. And so all to say is I had that prayer, that one-on-one with God. And it was a simple prayer like, I need help and I'm ready for change. I need help and I want to get out of this. I want this dark cloud that's been over me for the last year. I want it gone. I want it gone. And so lo and behold, I got home that same exact day. I was scrolling through my Instagram and I see my friend and coach, Stella, sharing her testimony. It was a year out and she was celebrating her wins through the program. And I remember seeing that. It caught my eye. It was the after of the after that really it just sparked something within. And it was contagious. I was like, wow, if she could do this for herself, that means I could do this for me. It gave me hope to see that it is possible. And I remember taking that as a sign. And I say this every single time, this program was an answer to prayer. But I remember calling her, connecting with her, August 8th, the journey began. I remember when I started, again, I was still dealing with a lot of mental health issues, just from the struggle, carrying that burden, the weight of just the whole year, what it, brought into my life. And so I remember starting the program thinking, I don't know if it's going to work for me. I had the limiting beliefs. I had the negative mindset, but I took the chance and I said, I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work, well, at least I tried, right? That was how I started August 8th. And I remember as the first week was done, I was down 7 pounds within that first week. And that already was like, wow, it really started to just change a lot within me. I kept moving forward. Within the month, 13-pound gone. And I was just like, wow. And at that point, I was like, yes, I want to keep going. I was experiencing the wins in all the ways. I can tell you that within that first month, it felt like I had lost 50 pounds. I didn't, but it felt that way. I felt freedom in ways that I never experienced in my life. Fast forward, I kept moving forward. I kept going a month at a time, day by day. And by November, when I went to go see my doctor for that 3-month follow-up, I remember going in and I was 30 pounds lighter by November. And I remember when she weighed me, she was really mind blown. She was like, what is going on? I can tell you that it was just such a night and day transformation already. Remembering how I started in June and seeing where I was at in November. Wow. I can tell you that I felt like a winner. I felt like, yes, it's happening. I'm able to do the hard things. It was just confirmation, right? And so I kept going. 30 pounds was my first goal. That was my first goal, but 50 pounds was the dream goal. And I remember having that conversation with Stella and celebrating all the ways that life was just starting to unravel. And so we kept going. I kept going. And April of 2021, I hit 50 pounds. I have been just optimizing my health and well-being with the structure that I gained through program. I loved the simplicity of our program. I think that to me was the biggest gift, was that it taught me how to eat well, how to know what are my non-negotiables, what are the things that that my body needs to have every single day. So having that structure has been such a blessing in our life. But beyond that, just using the books, the Habits of Health, the Life book, both books, just educating myself, learning, becoming an educated consumer, but at the same time, working on the mindset really started to just break away all of those chains and all of those limiting beliefs and the doubt, right? So fast forward, life just feels amazing. Because of this, my husband, it's just started his journey this year, and I will let him share really quickly. I wanted to end my part by saying, because of the program, we started out as clients, and now we are independent certified OPTAVIA coaches, loving all that program not only has done in our life, but what it continues to do as we continue to pay it forward. But I will let my husband, Robert, share a little bit of his story and what program has done for him.
So in February of this year, I saw Amy doing great things, and what was happening in her life, not only in her body, but also in the mind, and how it had changed a lot of the way she was feeling and the things that she was speaking. And just an overall general, there was something different, right? And there was people noticing and saying, there's something, what's going on? And it's not just how you look on the outside, but your attitude has changed. And I saw the mindset changing. In the beginning, I was like, okay, you try it, and then we'll see, I'll join in later. And I think that's a lot of us, right? A lot of the men see, a lot of our wives to do that. And then we'll see if it works. And I saw so many different things happen, not just the physical part of the losing the change in her body and her transformation, but also the change in the way she was thinking about things, how she saw food, how she wanted our family to be to gain health as well, not only us but our children. What this did also for our marriage, as we just do things together, and just understanding that this is a big part of who we are and how we need to move forward. So I jumped in February on our end, the week of our anniversary, and 3 days in, I noticed a difference right away, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, because there was something that just changed right away. Within that first week, I had lost, and I wasn't the typical, how everybody said, I lost not that much weight, but I had noticed that my measurements had changed. I was no longer feeling bloated. My stomach was not big. And I was just excited about where else this was going to go. And so I started that journey in February, and I kept working at it with her. And one of my goals was, as we had our daughters, her quinceañera on her 15 years of her birthday. And it was like, I bought this suit, and I was like, I'm going to fit in it. I'm going to make it work. And that was my goal. And so happy to say that I reached that in July. I was able to hit 40 pounds, and my goal weight is 50. So I'm still getting there. But I had just gotten to that point, and the suit fit, and just, and it felt great. It felt great. Not only did it feel good to put that on, but to know that these pictures that I would take forever, that will be in our lives of forever, were a place in my life where I was feeling good. There was no longer the suffering and silence about me and the way that I felt about my appearance and who I was towards others. But this just gives you an opportunity to clear out the physical part of it, but also the mental part. It helps you to work on that so that you can grow. What a blessing it was after doing that and moving forward. It has blessed my life and has changed the way I see things. It has helped us as a husband and wife to come together, because now we're doing this together. So this has just been a great thing for us. So with that being said, I just have seen the change and excited about where it's going. So thank you for the opportunity that we had to be a part of this. And we turn it right back to you guys, Jay and Joanna.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Okay, we're going to get those results from the components. And wow, I love seeing all the different answers. And I love how it's actually pretty much a consensus that all four are important. And I want to just drop in one more poll here real quickly. I asked you earlier, why not a 10? But really, for right now, where are you in healthy body? Where are you in healthy finances? Where are you in healthy mind? Put it in there, put it in the poll, but then ask yourself, what lie have I been believing that causes me to think I'm not worthy of or capable of a 10? And it's with my great honor that I get to introduce our next speaker. This is my friend Jamie, and Jamie has an amazing and powerful story about how she has developed a healthy mind through this process. So I'm gonna let you take it away, girl.
Thank you guys so much. My name is Jamie Lang. I am a certified independent health coach with OPTAVIA. You guys, thank you so much for allowing me this space today. I'm so excited to talk to you and get to share a little bit about my story and what's on my heart. I was always a pretty healthy person growing up. I was always athletic, into sports and things like that. So I would say that my story really didn't begin until a little bit later in life. I'll take you back to 2009. I was working in the mortgage business, and we all know how that went. I had just had my third child, and I was the breadwinner in the family. And suddenly, guys, I lost my job. It was the beginning of the spiral for me. I found myself a stay-at-home mom with 3 little kids under 5 years old. Really just started working multiple jobs and doing whatever I could to make ends meet. And really, it just never felt like enough. No matter what I did, it wasn't good enough. And I started to really feel invisible. I started to feel like I had lost part of myself. I started to feel like nothing. I really was honestly feeling pretty worthless at that time in my life. Fast forward a little bit to 2014, and I did go through a divorce, and that was really pivotal for me. Suddenly now I'm a single parent, and with little kids, with financial responsibilities adding up, and I couldn't wait for the kids to go to bed at night so I could pour that glass of wine and relax. And that's where I really started just depending on food and alcohol to numb what was going on, and never really quite addressing what was going on with me. Fast forward again to 2018, I got remarried. I started a new career. There was a lot of changes for us. We moved, so that was really big. The kids started a new school. We left the house that they had known their entire lives. I didn't know anybody. I had no friends. I was really feeling really alone and just heavy. Everything was so heavy, and just really depending more and more on food and alcohol to cope. Every piece, just more and more along the way, losing parts of me and the parts that made me who I am. Now, a couple years later, 2020, guys, man, like everybody else, that just turned our world upside down. The kids are home now, remote learning. I have no alone time whatsoever. I can't work because I'm constantly getting interrupted. My husband was put on furlough, and all that pressure that I had felt previously to provide for my family came crashing back down, and it felt like this huge burden. I hated going to work. I absolutely hated it because I needed 5 minutes to myself. I just needed a break. I needed to be left alone. So when I was going to work, I was mean to everybody. I had the worst attitude, just kind of rude. And I don't even know. It was just so bad. So I just continued feeding myself with this food and alcohol every day to cope. Some days it would be 11 o'clock in the morning and I would start drinking, and I would be drunk all day, sitting on the couch, ignoring my kids, having no energy to play, just not being the mom that I wanted to be. There were days that I ate and drank so much that I would be sick all night, and I would wake up in the morning exhausted, and I would do it over and over and over again. And that's just the way that life was for us. And the worst part about all of that is that my kids were watching. My kids were watching me and learning that that's how you had to deal with life, through alcohol and food. At one point, my 9-year-old child went into the kitchen and poured me a glass of wine himself and brought it to me and said, "Mom, you need this. You're having a rough day. This will make you feel better." At my lowest point, I remember I had gotten into a fight for some random reason with my husband. I was drinking, and I was sitting alone in the middle of the night on the couch crying. I had been watching my coach sharing her story, and I had reached out to her several times in the months previous to this, and I had texted her and wanted more information, and she wanted to hop on a phone call with me. And I was like, no phone calls. That's too much pressure. Can't you just text the information? And she really said, no, a phone call would be best. So I blew her off. And this went on for months. But that night, after I was sitting alone on the couch crying, I called my coach. And the very next day, I called my coach, and I decided that something had to change. This wasn't working out for us. And I started plan on November 2nd of 2020, 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. On day 3, I laid in bed the entire day and watched Hallmark Christmas movies. And I felt completely useless as I was going through those detox symptoms, but I did it. And by the end of the week, I had lost 5 pounds, and I really started to believe that I could do this. I started working in the life book, you guys. I defined my why, and I decided that my kids and my husband and I deserve better. I deserve better. They deserve better. They deserve that mom was going to get off the couch and play with them. They deserve the mom that's going to be happy and excited and hug them and love them and not treat them like they were getting in the way. I made up my mind and made a conscious decision that I was going to take control of my life. So I really dug into that life book, you guys. It was crucial for me. Through the work that I did with the life book, I had this revelation, right? That I've been really mean to myself. I would never, ever tolerate anybody talking to a friend or a family member the way that I had been talking to myself in my head. Absolutely not. I learned that I had been stuck in the drama triangle. I'd been living life below the line, blaming other people for my own decisions. No matter what was happening to me, it was someone else's fault. And I decided that day consciously to take control of my life and really just start making some changes and putting into practice all of the things that I learned in the life book. You guys, we can't control what's happening around us. Life is going to happen. Hard things are going to happen. We have no control over that, but we do have 100% control over the way that we respond and the things that we're putting into our body. So as I was practicing these things, people started to notice, right? I started intentionally going to work with a positive attitude and talking to people and inviting them in. And in no time, they started to notice. People actually said to me, Jamie, what's going on? You look so different. And it wasn't physical. It wasn't about the weight. While I was losing weight, they were talking about my heart and my attitude and the way I was showing up. They said, whatever you're doing, keep up with that. That's really good. And it just is a skill that I'm building. And the more I do it, the more I practice it, the easier it's becoming. I've started doing things that are important to me again. I started running. I'm learning how to play the guitar. I play with my kids. I took them to Great America. I'm screaming like a lunatic on the roller coasters, and they're laughing hysterically. And it's just such a shift from where we were. I lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks on plan. But what I didn't expect and what I had hoped for was that I got my life back. And that led me to health coaching. And there's been a ripple effect from there. My husband hopped on plan. He's lost 45 pounds. He's now running and taking hikes with me. And we're eating healthy meals with our kids. I'm no longer pouring from an empty cup because I started to pour into myself first. I learned that I have everything that I need within myself, you guys, and I choose to be grateful. I choose to see others. I choose to lift others up. I'm still on a health journey, guys. I don't get it right all the time. I certainly don't get it right all the time. And before I used to see that as an excuse to revert back to old habits or a failure. Now I learned to embrace those obstacles. I love obstacles now because it just gives me a chance to overcome them and really prove how strong I am. It's about self-awareness and knowing I do not have to stay below the line. We do not have to stay in the drama triangle. We are not stuck. We have the power to create whatever we want in our lives. And I choose greatness. And to that sad girl sitting on the couch, thank you. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for choosing health. If this resonates with any of you guys, please know, let this give you hope. There is another way. You can do this. I believe in you. You are courageous. You are powerful. You are not a failure. The only way to fail is to give up. So don't quit. Don't give up. Get started today. I believe in you. Let's do this. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for just that incredible testimony. For those of you who shared in the poll, thank you guys so much for being honest and sharing where you are, because current reality is where we start, right? It's where we start, and knowing that is so important. So thank you for sharing that.
Jamie had had a start, but that wasn't where it ended. And she was real and honest with where her start was, and she chose to take her health back.
Absolutely. So here's what's going to happen, guys. Just like these stories, is that whenever you begin to transform personally, people are going to notice. And you have two options. You can refer them to a coach, or you can pay it forward, meaning you can lean in and you can actually do the coaching alongside of them.
And not just any coach, refer to your coach.
Yeah, refer to your coach. You can refer them to your coach, or you can partner with your coach to help those people who are noticing you. Absolutely. The benefits of being an OPTAVIA coach are absolutely incredible. Not only does it reinforce your decision to be healthy, but actually you get to make a difference in someone's life, and to be that person to walk alongside them and be able to hear these stories from people you've personally touched is incredible. It's fun, it's rewarding, and there's a compensation involved. It's incredible. You can leave actually a lifelong legacy. The structure of our model is a picture of growth. You can help a few clients, or you can actually start helping lots of clients and begin building a team of health coaches and move from being a business coach to even a business leader. We want to help you hear from a story of some incredible business leaders, Stella and Angel Collazo, who are going to come off and share a little bit about their story. Now, they're super unique, and they have really leaned in and worked really hard to achieve the results. But I'm super excited for you to get to hear the amazing results for Stella and Angel.
Thanks, Jay and Joanna. My name is Angel Collazo.
My name is Stella Collazo.
And we are independent certified OPTAVIA coaches.
We're just so grateful for the opportunity to share our stories with you all. So I started program a little over 2 years ago. And at the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was taking a break from full-time teaching to stay home with our son, Augie, who was born 2 months premature. We spent 2 months in the NICU with him after he was born. It was a really hard and uncertain time for us. But Augie thrived. He did well. We both decided that it was best for me to take a break from teaching and to stay home with him. I absolutely love this opportunity. I loved giving him my full attention and never missing out on any of the firsts. I was there to hear his first word, which was Dada, not Mama. I was there to witness his first step and the first time he rolled over. It was all amazing, but I was also battling some anxiety around feeling stuck when it came to my health. I was overweight. I was always tired. I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol. I was intentionally looking for hope and a solution, but all I had ever experienced were diets, and all I had ever experienced was failing on diets. And then hope arrived through a woman named Christine, who was boldly sharing her journey on social media. I was blown away by her transformation. Christine had lost 109 pounds in 7 months. And that's finally when I started to believe that whatever she was doing could be a solution for me. So I reached out to her. I also made it clear that I was looking for a permanent solution, and that I was willing to commit. I was willing to do this 100%. So I hopped on plan. I lost 32 pounds in 3 months, and I felt amazing. I felt incredible. I did the head and the heart work. I got my habits under control. So by the end of month 2, friends and family, they started noticing a difference. They started asking me, Stella, what are you doing? What's your secret? Will you coach me? And that's where the spark to coach was born. I felt butterflies in my stomach and a lot of excitement around the idea. But I was also at a crossroads. So do I start coaching or do I return to teaching? So Augie's 3 now. And I had just updated my resume. I was ready to go back to teaching. We desperately needed an additional stream of income. So my husband, he was picking up overtime constantly, and we were feeling the emotional weight of that. I loved teaching, but I didn't love working over like 50 hours per week. It was stressful. So we had a family now. I didn't want to spend most of my time away from Augie. So I basically filtered my decision through this question: which option would give me the opportunity to not miss out on any firsts with our son? And then which option would be best for my family? Coaching was an easy yes for me. And when I shared that I wanted to coach with Angel, he was 100% on board.
Yeah, I was 100% on board for many reasons. And let me paint a picture of my reality at the time. I had been a police officer for over 7 years, and I had been working in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods located in the most dangerous city in the US. I'll leave it to your imagination what city. But I was working 50 plus hours a week. I was working a lot of overtime. I had an unpredictable work schedule. I was dealing with days off being canceled and my duty hours being extended. This was due to civil unrest, a pandemic, and because of the growing violence in our city. This was overwhelming. Because we were on one income, there were many obstacles. I felt obligated to stay at my job to make sure that I could provide for my family. I felt stuck at my job. I felt fear because I thought, this is what the next 20 or 30 years looks like for me. For me at the time, I was stuck in a scarcity mindset. I was stuck in the idea that I needed to do more and more to provide for my family because there wasn't enough money. That reality had a cost and an impact on me and my family. I was suffering. I was suffering mentally, emotionally, and physically. I was gaining weight and was using food to cope with my stress. I could not sleep. I was suffering from anxiety and depression, and I was suffering from PTSD. So when Stella started to coach, I was her first client and I lost 20 pounds and I've kept it off. I have had huge mindset shift. I got my life back, like Stella got her groove back. So when Stella began coaching with OPTAVIA, our family was changing because of her love for people, because of her hard work, her leadership. Her business began to thrive. Coaching generated an income for us. That income gave us options. Those options gave us an opportunity to dream and to dream big dreams. We dream a lot together these days, and our dreaming sounds a lot like this. Wouldn't it be cool if?
So our wouldn't it be cool list, it's really long now, but I'll share some of our favorites. So One of our favorites that is just so near and dear to our hearts is, wouldn't it be cool if coaching could give us the opportunity to grow our family through adoption? Adopting has always been a dream that we've had on our hearts for years and years. We just didn't know how we could make it happen on one income without taking out just large loans and getting into some serious debt. So we started the adoption process once I started coaching, and we will welcome a baby into our home one day. We have fully funded our adoption on our own. Also, wouldn't it be cool if we could take family vacations? So prior to coaching, we just couldn't do this. But last April, we visited Disney as a family for the first time, making just incredible memories. And we plan on taking another trip soon. And lastly, wouldn't it be cool if health coaching could bring Angel home? Could bring Angel home from his job?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if I could leave my job because I have the option to leave? Because I no longer feel obligated to stay in a job that was taking the life out of me. At OPTAVIA, we encourage one another to lead from the future and act in the now. And I am doing just that. I filled out my law enforcement retirement papers for next year. I have it posted on my fridge just to look at every day as a reminder that I have options, as a reminder that I am not stuck. I've always felt compelled to service. I've served in the Army. I've served as a police officer. I gave law enforcement 10 long years. Now my service and my passion is really helping people believe that there is more for their life by offering them hope and freedom and the opportunity to dream. We help change lives with coaching. And because of that, we get to dream big dreams. And because of that, others get to dream as well.
So our hope is that you feel encouraged by our story. We're so thankful for the opportunity to share our voices, our ups and downs, and some of what we have learned along the way. I never would have imagined that our path would lead us here to where we are today on this call with this incredible community and our amazing friends and teammates, Jay and Joanna, Amy and Robert and Jamie. I could not imagine my life without you all, nor would I ever want to. And I'm so excited for what's ahead.
I mean, wow. You got to sit here tonight and hear 3 powerful stories. How OPTAVIA had a massive impact on healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. People worked hard for this. People made a decision. Remember, they eliminated all of their possibilities, made a decision, and they worked really, really, really hard. So now the question is, what about you? Your next action step, if you want to move forward and make that decision for yourself, is to reach out to the person who invited you to this call. Make the decision to incorporate new healthy habits, the Trilogy of Optimal Health, to reach your goals. I challenge you to make the decision to take back personal responsibility for the life that you see behind your eyes. My passion, OPTAVIA's passion, our mission is to awaken America, to help America and then the world get healthy. And so my question to you tonight is, why not you? And why not now? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have a blessed evening. Good night, y'all.
Thank you and good night.
At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The previous audio contained the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope these stories inspire you to continue your journey with or join OPTAVIA, but please note that they have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider or doctor prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may have contained income or earnings representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. The stories shared reflect the unique experience of a very small percentage of OPTAVIA coaches and should not be relied upon by prospective or current OPTAVIA coaches as an indication of what they should expect to earn. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA results from successful sales efforts which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan.